Hello, ma'am. This is Haricharan Vemalapalli and from B2 Start Agile Development. And today I'm going to explain about the Agile failure models. So let's start. So basically, Agile failure models is nothing but all the failure modes have the same effect on the team. They gradually weaken the team ability to become truly high performing because they spotlight the Agile coach. When the failure modes are in operation, the coach has somehow become a focus of the teamwork. And And here we can see that the agile failure mode refer to the potential problems and pitfalls of the project, and also we need to be very careful while implementing the agile methodology for projects. So, like these are some common failure modes, like lack of commitment and indicate testing, and poor communication and lack of flexibility and scope creep. And let's go to the other slide. So when it comes to the agile failure models, there are total of 12 failure models in agile transformation where I've covered all these topics in this PPT. And also I will explain about the failure and workflow and why each and every failure in the agile mode. And also these failure modes are divided into various types depending upon the organization in teams. And the project here are 12 common agile adoption failures. So here, these are the 12 agile adoption failure modes, where you can see lack of leadership and poor implementation strategy and insufficient training and resistance to change and misunderstanding of agile principles. These are some of the principles, and these are the other one like ineffective communication and inability to deliver value and over reliance of tools and lack of ownership. And these are the other three, like inadequate metrics and lack of flexibility and failure of scale. And now I'm going to explain all the 12 models in detail. So the first one which we have seen is lack of leadership. So leadership is every team should have a leader. So leader should monitor all the team members whether they are going in a correct route or not. Yes, we follow here in the same in agile also. Where in the agile methodology it can lead to lack of support or resource and also make it difficult for team to adopt the follow thing. If the team doesn't follow the leaders work or a leader's words, it may lead to the difficulty and etc. And let's go to the other failure mode like poor implementation strategy. The main if a project wants to succeed, the main thing is like the implementation. If the implementation is good, the project will be in correct route. So the implementation strategy also need to be in a correct way so that we can implement our project so in my successful manner. Where we can see that here without any clear implementation strategy and plan or adoption of process can become disorganized. So implementation is very much required in a project. And if there is a poor implementation, there will be leading to lack of progress upon the project. And the other one is a resistance to change. Resistance to change is nothing but like if every team member who are resistant to change, they struggle to adapt to new process and tools, which leads to the lack of enthusiasm and process involved, and which leading to a major confusion and resistance over the project. So this is about the resistance to change. And let's go for the insufficient training. Each and every team member in the team should have a appropriate and sufficient training. Only because of that training, only the people that employees can go in a flow. So without adequate training and team members may not fully understand the agile methodology, way to use and how to use the process involved and leading to the confusion resistance. So the other adoption failure mode was like misunderstanding of agile principles. So as we know that there are in total of 12 agile principles where we have learned before. So the main, if you want to implement a successful agile methodology in a project, you must understand the agile principles. So if every team member do not understand the agile principles such as the continuous improvement, collaboration, and transparency, and etc. it may lead to the failure of the project. So why? Because if there is a misunderstanding of agile principles, it will lead to a wrong way. So every employee who is working on the project, like who is implementing the agile, should know the main principles of the agile. So here we can go see the other one, like ineffective communication. So communication is the main part when we are collaborating or working within a team. So communication plays a major role in team development and etc. So when it comes to the ineffective communication, we can see that it should be there in the within the team or between the members or within the stakeholders. You need to interact with all the stakeholders, like the client and all the managers and all the employees who are working for the project, so that they cannot lead to the misunderstandings and delays, and also increase the efficiency. So this is the other one, and we'll go for the other one, like inability to deliver value. So inability to deliver value in the sense nothing but if we are not able to deliver the product in a sufficient time or given time, it may lead to the inability to, or it happens when the employees do not have a proper communication, or if the implementation fails. So inability to deliver value plays a major agile model, where we can see if the team is unable to deliver value quick or consistently, it can lead to a lack of confidence and trust from the stakeholders. If you are unable to deliver a product within the time, so the we will lose the trust on the stakeholders lost the trust on us, and they will not give any project in future. So we need to deliver the projects within the time, so that we can achieve the trust from the stakeholders and gain more projects to them. And the other one is a lack of ownership. It's nothing but when the team members do not take any ownership of their work, or not empowered to make a decision, it can lead to the failure or decrease the productivity of the project and the people who are working on the team. And the other one is over reliance on tools. So dependency on tools has been increased in rapidly in these days. So if there is an error in the tool, so or is there any malfunction, like bugs in the tool, if the tool manufacturer doesn't update the tool properly or in a corrective way, it it may lead to the failure of the project. Why? Because we use the tools in the project regularly. So, and also we need to give to the people, we need to train the people about the tool, and also what is the other ways to implement the project without any work of the tool. So the tool can be helpful, but over reliance is dangerous. Like we cannot depend upon only on the tool. So we should not over reliance on the tool. Many projects have been failed because of their tools. So these are the other three failure modes, where are the inadequate metrics and failure to scale and lack of flexibility. And let's go for the inadequate metrics. So metrics is nothing but a measurement. So without any proper measurement, we cannot measure the progress of success and progress of the project. So we should definitely measure the project before starting it. So if we measure, we can know we can get the actual idea, and we can know all the consequences in front. So due to the inadequate metrics, we can identify the areas of improvement and also measure the effectiveness of the agile methodologies where we implement in the project. And the other one, let's go for the lack of flexibility. As we all know what flexibility means. So agile is about being flexible and adapting to change. Many companies adopt to the agile methodologies. Why? Because it is the most flexible. As we know, agile is an iterative approach. So there is more flexibility in the software process. So if there is a lack of flexibility, it can lead to a lack of responsiveness and changing requirement of market conditions. And when it comes to the failure of scale, like an organization grow and more teams adopt agile, it became very difficult to scale. Like no, controlling thousands of employees not a big it's a big deal. So if all the employees even though follow the agile practices, it is very difficult to manage. So without clear span on scaling and adoption may become falter. So these are the 12 uh, agile option failure modes. I have explained very detailed. So let's go to the other one. The topic is transformation of failure modes proposition. As there are total in three, there let's go to the first one. Like organizations are potential shortage and the bigger number of contracting forces in an organization and the higher the likelihood of sorry, encountering the chaos and the bigger number of forces with the various periodic patterns and the higher the likelihood of encountering pairs. And an organization will be always in one of the following state like stable equilibrium and periodic equilibrium or chaos. And the other transformation failure mode proposition is like forecasting is impossible. So the forecasting, why? Because the results of forecasting is not accurate. As you can see, the error rate of 10 to 15% in general in the real life. So especially at the global scale in the long term, when it is in the chaotic scale, the impact of change has been unpredictable. So long term, it may lead to the long term effects. So we cannot forecast in the selective project or anything like that. So when it comes to the chaotic state and the impact of incremental change can be predicted within the very short time, not in the long term effect. So in the chaotic state and the organization are attracted to the identical configuration. So let's go to the other one. So here we can see the transformation failure mode of mode proposition where proposition when in the chaotic state organizations have a fractal form which is similar structure patterns are found at the organization and groups and individual levels are found at the organization unit when it is in the chaotic state and where we can see the same type of action taken by the organization when the project is in chaotic state uh, and that's it. And let's go to the other one, like where you can see the two primary failure modes of agile, like top-down failure and the bottom-up failure. Where in the top-down failure, the process comes from top-down, like it will come in a sequence of order, like the first stage, second, third one. And when it comes to the bottom-up failure, where you can the sequence come in the reverse direction, like from the down stage to up stage. And this was the lack of executive sponsorships, where you can see the failure mode and the corrective actions in this, where the failure mode is to the organization blames for agile for poor performance, and the corrective actions leads to the workflow and the the plan and risk manage the all work and outcomes with visible. And we can see in the failure modes, agile is performing as a strength while hiding from management and some of the corrective actions where the development plan to syndicate to enterprise from pilot projects. So pilot projects is nothing but the automated projects, the other way. In the failure nodes, so we can see the executive demands immediate results, but where in the corrective actions where we cannot see that. And let's go to the failures of agile development in recent years. Many of the companies have achieved by implementing the agile methodology in the project. And there are some companies also failed due to the agile development due to the lack of proper implementation, where you can see where they have seen in the in failure modes, and also if the companies didn't follow the proper principles and also misunderstood the principles. So let's get into the examples of the companies where they are failed. So the first one is the National Audit Office for the Universal Credit Project. Because the prosecution and contacting secondary reason, a lack of transparency and inadequate performance reporting contributed to the problems. All of this can be summed up as an agile failure. This is one of the agile failure in the recent years. Like if they didn't follow all the principles and also they have many failure modes. So that is the reason why it has happened. And the other was in the United Kingdom, where it was a Siren case stated by Surrey Police Force, where Siren is a large-scale IT project to deliver a record and case management system using Agile. And it has been failed. Why? Because they didn't implement the Agile methodology correctly and also didn't follow the processes. And there are many failure modes in that. And they, as in news, they have mentioned that their employees didn't know the principle. So because of that, it has been failed. Even the Agile is implemented in the project. And yeah, here we can see all the references where I have taken from for this presentation. So in this presentation, we have discussed about all agile failure modes and also these are some common modes and also the main 12 failure modes, and also I've given the detailed explanation about all the 12 failure modes, where we have seen transformation failure modes proposition, and after this we have given the detailed explanation about the two primary failure modes, and also explain about the examples for Agile in the recent years. So thank you, ma'am. I hope you like my presentation.